Welcome to a very special report with our New York Yankees beat reporters and former New York Yankees beat reporter Brian Rabacs, but he's still kicking. He's still with us here at WFUV. But this is the John Sterling special. How's it going, everybody? Will Tallant with you, joined by Nick Palmer, Brian Rabacs, and Lou Orlando. And we're just going to sit here and chop it up about the great John Sterling. What a career it was that Mr. Sterling had behind the mic for the New York Yankees. He called 5,420 games, including 211 postseason games in one of the greatest runs in sports history. But, guys, the 85-year-old sportscaster steps down. He is in retirement, and, good for him. 36 years as the Yankees' main play-by-play voice on the radio, but in that press conference, and you were at that game, Nick, he said he had started calling games in 1960, before our parents were born. How about that one? Unbelievable stuff. But, Nick, I want to turn it to you first. You were at his ceremonial day. How was that whole experience? What did you hear? What did you see?
I was so lucky because I arrived at the stadium at the same time John Sterling did. So Sterling gets out of his town car or whatever, right on the street, right outside the stadium. And it was also Judge 62 bobblehead giveaway day. So people were there for a 1 o'clock game at 10 a.m. Lines were still out the door, partially probably for John, partially for the bobblehead. He steps out, just rounds of applause, people going up to him, shaking his hand. He's walking into this stadium like a champion, totally beloved. We get into the elevator at the exact same time. So it's just me, John Sterling, and, two of his assistant helpers, whatever. And I'm like, this is the only chance I'm going to have to talk to John Sterling. This is his last time here. I'm like, I'm just going to introduce myself. We're in the elevator together. I go, hi, Mr. Sterling. I'm Nick. I'm one of the Fordham guys this year. He goes, oh, you should talk to Michael. I was like, yeah, I should talk to Michael. He'd be like, he'd be very happy to talk to you and help you out. And I was like, all right, I have the John Sterling seal of approval to go talk to Michael K if I want to. So I did actually on the field before the ceremony. And just, anyway, that goes to show you Sterling was not a self-centered guy, selfish guy by any stretch of the imagination. He was always so happy to meet new people. And I think that's really reflected in his attitude towards everyone, towards Susan. That press conference was awesome, and we'll get into it in a bit. Brian Rabacs, Islander goal.
Great call. But it's crazy that he's been doing this for as long as he has. Because remember, it's not only the Yankees, which I believe he started in 1989. It goes further than that. He was doing, hosting in like the 60s, and then obviously was a voice of the Islanders for a number of years in the 70s.
Atlanta Hawks.
And the Nets.
The Hawks, yep.
Like, it's crazy the stuff that he did even before just the Yankees, and then obviously the run that he had calling New York Yankees games. We'll never see it again. 36 years, over 5,000 consecutive games, all the way until 2019. He didn't miss a single game, called every single at bat of Derek Jeter's career.
Yeah.
All 5 of those Yankees World Series, his voice is attached to that. There's just so much history that John Sterling got to be a part of, and just spans multiple generations of Yankee fans. We won't see anything like it again, and it just shows the love that people have for him, and he touched on the kindness that people give him as well. He was the voice for a lot of people's generations, where there are people listening to Yankee games when they're very young, probably like 8 years old, and now they're in their 40s, and they've still only known John Sterling. So it is really cool that he's been excelling at this level for so long and just been really in Yankee fans' hearts, and without a doubt, he will be missed.
I think it's crazy that there are so many different people spanning so many different generations that can say that they grew up listening to John Sterling and grew up with his voice. And I think it's a really special feeling when, as a listener, you feel kind of like warm and fuzzy inside, because you just feel like you're listening to like your communal grandfather call a game. Like, there are 2 voices in my childhood and in my life where I listen to them and I'm like, this is just like a second grandfather for me, and it's Sam Rosen and John Sterling. And it's just, it's a really special and unique vibe. I can't like think or talk about John Sterling without like just smiling and beaming, because he just makes me happy, and it's like it felt like he never had a care in the world. You never heard him get like angry or upset. It always just sounded like he was thrilled to be calling Yankee games, and everything I've ever heard and every interaction I've had with him, I ran into him a couple of times, Yankees, is just the nicest man in the world, just an absolute sweetheart of a man, and he deserves every bit of the outpouring of love that he's gotten. Not just, the past couple of weeks, but over his time as a Yankee broadcaster.
And, just filled with tons of joy. He's always very hard on himself, too. Jack Curry had a couple posts about he turned to John Sterling and was like, "Did you see that you were on the paper?" And he's like, "Yeah, did you see that ugly mug of me on the back? I can't believe it." And people would love to see that face. Like, he was always so hard on himself, but in a very, tender kind of way. And I have a fun memory of John Sterling. I used to play against his sons in baseball. We played for like the same program. They were just a little bit older than me. And I was playing against them in one game, and John Sterling was there watching his sons play, and he sat right in front of my father, and then he stood back up and turned around and pointed at my dad and was like, "You look like my favorite author," and then just kind of sat down, and then that was the end of it. But very quirky. He was always a character. Yeah. And you put it best there, Lou. He's like a second grandfather. I think that he all knew how to put us to bed in the best ways, even in some of the most egregious losses that we could have seen. John Sterling knew how to make it fun. And I guess that I just want to turn the conversation over to all of you guys, and anyone feel free to just jump in. But what did John Sterling, overall, in terms of your baseball fandom, they are the team, but your fandom of the New York Yankees in particular, what has John Sterling done for your fandom and love for the Yankees in Major League Baseball?
I would love to go first. As someone that didn't have the Yes Network, I forget the exact year that I ended up getting like the cable package with all those channels. I didn't have the Yes Network, and so it was always special when the Yankees would play on My 9, or they'd play on like
My 9 and Pix 11.
Oh my,
yes,
right?
Man.
Those
My
are
9
take me back, right? But like, there's something special about the first few baseball teams that you fall in love with, and as a Yankees fan, like I think back to 2010, 2011, 2012, like those were the first 3 years and the formative years for me as a Yankee fan, and a majority of my Yankee fandom was sitting in the living room with our old radio and listening to John Sterling call games. Like, that's something that I'll never be able to separate from those teams. And I get so nostalgic. I'm tearing up a little bit right now because it's like I could go through every single player on like the 2011 Yankees roster, and there's still some of my favorite players of all time. And John Sterling will never be separated from that group and that feeling that I had of just like pure adoration and love for the game. And as I was falling in love with baseball, I was falling in love with the Yankees, and I was falling in love with John Sterling. And like I remember like sitting with my dad, and me and my dad riff now because I've gotten very funny, but I don't know if I was as funny back when I was a kid. But one of the few when I would riff and I would actually be funny, we'd riff about John Sterling, and we'd come up with like fake home run calls. Like I remember me and my dad going back and forth and being like, Francisco Cervelli, he's gonna go home and make some peanut butter and jelly, like just random stuff that like John Sterling. I really can't describe how much joy he brought me. I think it's something that like me and my dad always bonded over. Like we love. I'll always send him like calls that make me smile. Me and my dad will sit and watch. There's like a 5-minute clip of John Sterling bloopers, and it all comes from a place of love. John Sterling had some of the funniest bloopers I've ever heard, and like we would just sit and die laughing at some of them. And like I don't know, maybe if it's another broadcaster, you'd be like, man, this guy stinks. John Sterling just owned it, and it was part of his persona and part of his vibe. They're like, hey, he's gonna miss some things sometimes, but he's so unabashedly himself that it just became part of the experience. And honestly, at least for me, it made my listening experience so much better, knowing that like I'm gonna have, no matter, you kind of said it, right, no matter what the score of the game is, no matter how the game's going, you're gonna have a great time listening to John Sterling, and that's something that I will never ever forget and I'll forever be appreciative of.
Well, growing up, I think one of the things that you really appreciate about John Sterling is that he was always there in a sense. Like, this was growing up, so like 2010, 2011, like you were saying, this is before the days of Twitter where you could just look on your phone and see like, oh, the Yankees are winning 4-3. It's the 7th inning. Aaron Judge just had an RBI single. Like, a lot of it was you're either watching the game on TV or you had to check ESPN the next morning, or you were listening to the radio broadcast. So a lot of when I was not able to watch TV, I would have either a radio in my house back in those days. I was able to turn on 880 WCBS at the time and just listen to John Sterling. And he was always like just really insightful and just great to listen to. And then even in car rides too, I would always like, people would want to listen to the radio in the car with a lot of young kids, and I was like, we need to listen to Johnson. We need to listen to the Yankees. Like, I have to listen
Driven
to the Yankees.
by Jeep.
Exactly.
Was it 660 back? Well, I guess
It was
880.
WCBS,
It was
then
880.
Then they went to the fan.
Yep.
I think
And
like,
then that's when it
2010,
became 660 on AM.
I was trying to think
Yeah.
what it was when I was a
Right.
kid. Okay.
So yeah, just like all the like memories that I have of just when I'm not able to watch the Yankees, I would listen to them on a radio at home or in the car if I was driving with my mom, and like those are what I'm really gonna remember about John Sterling's career. Just the ways that he was always accessible and you were always able to listen to him, and he was always telling a story with the game, and his voice is just really just distinct, and you love him for all the calls that he has. He really does a good job of being unique and fun, but also like very like knowledgeable of the game of baseball, and there will never be another, and he will be remembered greatly in the hearts of Yankee fans.
I've been very fortunate to where the two teams that I grew up with, which are these two teams, which are simultaneously the teams that Garrett Cole grew up with liking as a kid. I talked to Garrett Cole, or I didn't talk to Garrett Cole. I was in the dugout while Garrett Cole was talking about John Sterling before the game, compared him to Vince Scully, saying one of those all-time voices. But what Garrett Cole didn't say, which I'm going to take the opportunity to expound on, is that something that Scully and Sterling had in common was that they talked to you like you were their friend. And you especially got that from Sterling, I think. Maybe Vin was more of like your grandpa talking to you, but Sterling felt like your friend, explaining what's going on in the game. And I only really became... I don't think I was aware of the Yankees until 2011, 2012, when my favorite player, Russell Martin, becomes a Yankee. And that's when I started paying attention to the team and liking the team, obviously rooting for Russell, but rooting for the team alongside them. And, I would, that's back in the days when the MLB app, you could listen to the games for free. You didn't have to pay for like MLB audio, MLB TV. That was like around that time, mid 2010s. And I would listen to John Sterling, and yeah, it felt like my friend was talking to me. And I think that that's something that's you don't find in in a lot of broadcasters nowadays. And I think that that's a very, it's a special thing that not a lot of people have.
And one thing with Sterling especially, and we'll dive into this a little bit more too, in terms of our favorite calls, he always knew how to keep it real. He was always real about it in the most fun ways. And it's a quirky saying, people make shirts, they poke fun at it, but in reality, that's baseball. Susan is as real as it gets.
I got the sticker on my computer.
It's funny, but it's so down to earth at the same time for all the right reasons. John Sterling just knew how to personify a baseball listening experience. And, for that, I'm eternally grateful, because I think back on that 2009 team and the great teams that followed that didn't have quite the same success, but I remember a lot of those guys, not just because of how good they were as Yankees, but because John Sterling made them even more fun to follow along with. And that that leads me to, we're all Yankee fans here at our round table, and there's a lot of Yankee fans at WFUV, but we even have Boston Red Sox fans who, get the short end of the John Sterling stick, because when they hear him really excited, it usually means that something is going wrong in Beantown. But our very own Jack Warner has his own memories of John Sterling, and I think that's just a true testament to the kind of impact and imprint John Sterling has on the baseball world. So let's take a listen to what Jack Warner has to say. One of our Mets beat reporters, but first and foremost, a Boston Red Sox fan and a Connecticut native. Same state as Brian Rabacs.
Yeah.
But Brian, he's on the Yankees side. Jack on the Red Sox side, but nevertheless still a big baseball fan who loves John Sterling. So let's have a listen to Jack Warner.
How am I supposed to talk about the greatness of John Sterling and keep it brief? Tell me that. It's definitely difficult, but I'll give it my best try. I think the thing that I find most special about the legacy that Mr. Sterling leaves behind was his ability to bridge generational gaps. And what I mean by that is it's so rare to see somebody excel and be so impactful at what they love for such a long period of time like John Sterling did. And it didn't matter how young or old you are. There's fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, grandparents, all people of all ages, all decades, all generations that can bond over the way that John Sterling called Yankee games. It made us feel like we were there while we were listening to a Yankee game. And, it honestly makes me kind of emotional thinking about it. John Sterling makes me think of my grandmother every time because, my grandmother grew up a Yankees fan. She always used to tell me stories about being a little kid and having a crush on Mickey Mantle. And, I played baseball my whole life. So my grandmother was always just one of my biggest supporters. And when we'd be talking on the phone about baseball, obviously she loves the sport. She still does. But, she may not be as studious about the sport as me or as an avid baseball fan might be. And no matter what I was telling her, it could have sounded like gibberish. I could have been telling her all my stats or how I did that weekend, just checking up with her. On several different occasions, she would find a way to loop into the conversation. That's baseball, Susan. She always used to say things like that really do show you the everlasting impact that Mr. Sterling left on the city of New York, the sport of baseball, and honestly, the world. He made the world a better place. Everyone talks about how amazing of a person he is. And I couldn't agree more. And I guess to leave you guys with, my favorite call would be a home run by Miguel Andujar, who was one of my favorite Yankees while he was on the team. Andujar hit it far, and he's getting Miggy with it. And, they were down, I think they were down like 9-1 or 9-0, the Yankees late in the game. Several angry New Yorkers probably turned that game off already with that score, and he was still keeping it fun, still trying to keep the listeners engaged, still inserting personality, and leave it to John Sterling to find a way to make a home run and a blowout entertaining. But it's great that you guys are doing the show. Thank you so much for coming to me to give my 2 cents.
Do you think John Sterling's listened to Getting Jiggy with It by Will Smith, or do you think someone gave that to him?
He's had to have listened.
He's
got to be a man of culture.
It's a late 90s song, so that's,
I would say probably.
He's got some
he
wild
didn't-
pop
yeah.
culture pulls. Just
He
in
does.
General.
It's crazy.
He's been around the block.
And it's crazy with that particular call. You can definitely hear John Sterling voices Andujar hit it far, and he's getting Miggy with it. It's just so it's such a distinct quality he has.
It's thank you so much to Jack Warner for that.
That's a Red Sox fan that just talked for over 2 minutes about what John Sterling meant. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Meant a lot to not
So-
only Yankee fans but baseball fans.
Yeah.
Baseball in general, just one of those iconic voices, and that I think I want to turn the conversation now to our best calls, our favorite calls. If you know what, how about best moments? We'll do best moments, and then we'll finish the conversation with our favorite calls. But I'll start with you, Lou. What's the best John
I don't think
Sterling
mine's
moment?
the best one to go first. I think you should go to these guys. I've got
Okay.
a good one, but it's a little silly.
let's go,
I think
Brian.
if you wrap it around into particular moments in John Sterling's career, the one that I think kind of stands out for me, and I don't know if it's recency bias, but I love his call of Aaron Judge's 60-second home run, where he's really putting together chapters in Yankee history.
Here's the 1-1. swung on. There it goes. Deep left, it is high. It is far. It is gone. Number 62 to set the new American League record. Aaron Judge hits his 62nd. All the Yankees out of the dugout to greet him. Just think of it. 3 Yankee right fielders. The Babe hitting 60 and 27. The Jolly Roger hitting 61 and 61. And now Aaron Judge hits his 62nd home run, the most home runs any American leaguer has hit in a single season. And the American League has been alive for 120 years. This is Judgment Day. Case closed.
Judge hits the homer, and then he's recapping. I mean, you have 3 Yankee right fielders. Babe Ruth in 1960, the Jolly Roger Maris hitting 61 and 61, and then you have Aaron Judge in 2022 hitting 62, and just like really like magnifying what that moment meant, where he said like no one in American League history has hit more home runs than Aaron Judge, and he said something like the American League has been around for however many years it was. It just really highlighted how significant of a moment that was, because everybody knew like, oh, he's Aaron Judge, new home run record in the American League, but when John Sterling kind of brings the history into it, it kind of takes it to a whole nother level. So that's a call that I really like, and something that really stands out. Even in the later years of his career, he still was able to just really kind of show how impactful moments in Yankee history were.
That's a great one. As far as my favorite moment, and it's not my favorite moment because he got hit in the face with a baseball.
That's mine. That's the one I was going to do.
I knew someone was...
3-2 swung on. A pop foul back here.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
It's
Dang
not.
it.
It's not. That's
It
not
really
the
hit
reason.
me.
Ow! Ow!
It really hit me.
It really hit me. Not only is that my favorite moment, that's Aaron Boone's favorite moment. He did a presser before John Sterling came in to do the presser, and Meredith asked him, what's your favorite John Sterling call? And he goes, I do love the foul ball. And then he does the Sterling impression, goes, it really hit me. And I was like, not a bad impression from Boone. Also, another funny John Sterling moment in that press conference was as soon as he sat down, he goes, is this where Booney says, I think he's getting close? Which, as we all know,
It's great.
if you've watched any Aaron Boone press conference,
It's exactly where
and
he
Meredith
says that.
says, hey, how's insert DJ LeMahieu's name? Yeah, I think he's getting close. We'll see as it comes down the stretcher. But yeah, he's getting close.
Right at that table.
That's the table where he does it. My favorite call. Are we?
No,
Okay,
this
let's-
specific call.
okay.
So yeah, let's
let's hold
for
off on that. But that's my favorite moment. Lou, you're gonna have to find me.
that was mine. I'll expound it a little bit in the sense that it's crazy that he didn't like curse on air. If you watch the video and how hard he actually got hit with the ball, the fact that he maintains composure, makes a good call about himself getting hit in the head is crazy. The other one that ran through my head, and I think it's wild for me to pick this one because I was not alive, but I've heard it a bunch of times. His call on the 96 World Series, the Charlie Hayes catch in foul territory. I think he's got a really good call. I think it's the first, right? That's the first World Series, that
Of
first
the
World
dynasty,
Series
yep.
win
Yeah.
that
First
he
of
got to
5.
call.
The stretch and pitch. Swung on and popped up again. Off third. Hayes has room. Hayes makes the catch. Yankees win. The Yankees win. The New York Yankees have won the 1996 World Series. They have surmounted every challenge. They have climbed every mountain. And the New York Yankees are world champions.
And I love that era of Yankees baseball because that is, right, that's Sterling and Kay on the radio together for those World Series before Yes becomes a thing. And so you get two of the greatest Yankees voices of all time. But if I'm not mistaken, right, that's Sterling that's on the call for the big Charlie Hayes catch.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He gets the final out
I
for
believe his
Charlie
name is
Hayes in
attached to
96.
all of those World Series.
Oh, yeah. All of them. It's always World Series over. It's always
Oh,
that.
yes.
It's
That's the one I'm
always
thinking.
that.
That's the one I'm
I
thinking
believe him and Kay would flip-flop
They would
like,
definitely flip-flop
doing
innings.
color and
Yeah.
play-by-play, because I believe in 01, Michael Kay had the call of Jeter's Mr. November.
But I'm
Right.
pretty
That would have
sure,
been
and
like
I'm
a
not-
Sterling moment, but they flip-flopped.
And I'm not certain,
during
but
games.
I think Sterling was calling the final out of all of those games.
I believe
I
so.
could be wrong, but
Of the World Series wins, I believe it was all Sterling.
Yes.
But like I said, I don't remember what game that was. Game 3 of the 01 series, Kay had that final call. So it really depended. But every World Series win that they had in that run was, by John Sterling. And I think my favorite moment, and of course, I was born in 2002, so I didn't live to see this, but a little bit before me. So anyone who's tuning in, if I botch it, I'm sorry. I just wasn't born. I didn't listen to it fully, but it's either David Cohn's or David Wells' perfect game where he goes 27 up, 27 down, baseball immortality. Oh, it's perfect.
Swung on. He's going to get it. Popped up to right field. O'Neill near the line. He makes the catch. David Wells has pitched a perfect game. 27 up, 27 down. Baseball immortality for David Wells. And the Yankees win. The Yankees win.
It's perfect because that's literally baseball immortality. You can't be any more immortal than getting the 27 batters you face all out in a row.
And so concise too.
Oh, and it hammers it
And
home.
each word is important, and none of them are
It's
wasted.
all stressed. Each syllable to each sound of each letter is stressed perfectly with John Sterling. It's just incredible stuff. And I think before we turn to our favorite calls and wrap up our John Sterling special, I had an opportunity to chat with former WFUV sports manager Emmanuel Berbari, now one of John Sterling's, I don't want to call replacements. He's not a replacement. He's not replacing. You can't replace John Sterling. But Emmanuel, and alongside Justin Shackle, another former Fordham graduate and, of course, WFUV alum, they will be taking over as the main radio voices, and both of them, a lot of games under their belt now, filling in for John in the last couple of years. But I got to sit down with E-Man and talk about what it's meant to be mentored by John Sterling for these past couple of years. And, of course, E-Man's favorite moment growing up as a Yankee fan, specifically his favorite call. Have a listen. Will Tallant here with one of the Yankees radio voices, Emmanuel Berbari, but first and foremost, one of our former sports managers here at WFUV Sports. And Emmanuel, obviously with John Sterling announcing his retirement, I just want to ask you a couple questions, especially because you've been around John for a couple of years now. As a professional broadcaster, what kind of impact has John had, especially in your journey with the New York Yankees?
Just an immeasurable impact. You think about somebody like myself who grew up a Yankee fan, and you're walking into this booth and you're getting ready to do your first post-game show, a little bit overwhelmed, not quite sure what to expect, and you're also interacting with one of your idols, your broadcast idols that you grew up listening to. And John, just being authentically himself, he walks up to you and he's like, "Emmanuel, my boy," and wishes you well in that journey and that opportunity. And that type of confidence that instills in you and the reassurance from somebody like John, it went for that situation, but also for how he conducted himself and everything else. Like, you watch him work, you watch him call a game, and there's that uniqueness that's special to John and who he is, and he doesn't waver from that. But he carries that in his broadcast, he carries that in the way he interacts with everybody, and he carries that in every aspect of his life. And it was inspiring to me, not only from a professional standpoint, but for like a way to just live your life and to go about your business.
So growing up a Yankee fan, you got to have a favorite call. What was your favorite John Sterling home run call, and who was that player specifically?
Yeah, there are so many good ones that I had to think a lot about this when they were going through the montage of John's career and his historic calls that give you goosebumps. And the one that stuck out to me, 2019, was my most impressionable phase as a young Yankee fan. Thriller from Godzilla with with Hideki Matsui. Great one. And he was one of my all-time players growing up. 2009 World Series MVP. So I think that one has a slight edge over some of the other notables.
Well, Emmanuel, thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thanks for having me.
A Thriller from Godzilla. It's a great one. I think that's a great way to start and wrap up our Sterling special. So, Nick, I'll start right with you. Give me your favorite all-time John Sterling home run call. Who is it?
First of all, Emmanuel, my boy, is so funny.
So great.
That's so funny.
So great.
And Emmanuel did a great impression there, too.
He did.
So you would think that it's Russell shows muscle. Monsieur Martin est là. That's great. But my favorite John Sterling home run call is a current Yankee, actually, which I don't think people expect. But after doing a little research into it, I've come to really love it. And it's the Anthony Volpe home run call. So I'll do a little rendition of it here. Anthony Volpe, a spectaculo oggi, which means at the show today in Italian. And then he says,
Loves his Italian.
"Oh, the fox socks one to left," or whatever. Volpe in Italian means fox.
Whoa.
Wow. See,
I didn't put that
some
together.
He picks up on every detail. Always.
And the way the fox socks one to left, that sounds so good off the tongue. Volpe's obviously Italian. I think it's great. Spectaculo OG there's a lot of glottal stops in that. I thought he does a great job with that one. So Anthony Volpe gets my vote.
I tend to really like the ones from the earlier years of my fandom, the ones that, like, even though he had some that came out just naturally. So it's hard for me to choose just one if I'm going to. I'm going to choose one of my favorite players growing up, and I'm going to do the classic Robbie Cano, don't you know? Just the way that he says it, dude.
So
He's having
good.
so much fun with it. Awesome call for an awesome player, and yeah, just one of my all-time favorites. You'll never forget that.
He hops on to he goes, don't you know?
Don't
which
you
is the
know?
best part.
Robbie Cano,
It's
don't you
it's
know?
not don't you know?
So
It's
great.
don't you know?
So great.
So good.
Awesome stuff.
I'm going right to that same team. This is I can't get past this one. It's the first thing I think of whenever I think of Sterling. Mark Teixeira sends a text message to right field. You're on the mark, Teixeira. I love it. It's
So good.
It's so good.
It's great. You know, I have a couple.
we can't do
there's-
we can't do more than just one. We gotta,
so many.
I have
so many on the
a
table.
favorite, but we can't end this show without mentioning an A-bomb from A-Rod. Of
course.
It's the emphasis on the syllables and the Grandy Man
Simple.
can.
That's the one. I love that one.
So good.
I love when he sings.
Well, man,
All of them are very heavy on the syllables, which
Heavy.
makes them great.
the Grandy Man can, the Gardy Party, Mike Talkman, the Sockman.
That's good.
So good. Yes. Indeedy. Oh.
Oh, yes, indeed, he's great.
But
and
I'm gonna
again, the
actually
pronunciation on the yes, indeedy.
Indeedy. Oh, dude.
You know what we
It never
forget?
gets old.
We forget it's a nuke from Uke. Euclid is Kevin Sen.
We
That's insane.
Known Yankee Kevin Euclid.
Very
2013.
a
very
special
known.
star.
He actually
Two home
said, "I'll
runs.
always be a Red Sox" in his introductory press conference as a Yankee. So it's
What do
okay.
you
It's a
remember
great
about
call.
Brendan Ryan's home run call?
Brendan Ryan? But I'm actually gonna stay in those late 2010s, that realm, and it was actually my senior year of high school yearbook quote, and it goes as follows: Gio Urshela, the most happy fella. It doesn't get much better than that.
Isn't that what you want to be?
Most
Into
happy
singing
fella.
afterwards, too. He sings
Oh,
to that.
yeah.
It's like, the most happy
Fella.
fella.
Yeah, he gets into song. Like, it's a whole performance.
Well, before we wrap this up, should we all sing "The Sun Will Come Out"? Tanaka.
The
Sun will
sun
come out. Tanaka.
The sun will come out. Tanaka. Bet your bottom dollar with Tanaka. The sun will shine. Anyway,
Well, and it's also too like if you don't even have to go to like specific like home run calls for players, but when he goes like two players go a back to back,
Belly to belly.
Yeah, belly to belly.
How have we gone this entire show without saying,
saying
it
belly-
is far,
belly to-
it is high, it is gone?
And then,
Yeah.
but then there was like tough moments with that where he'd be like, "It is high," and you would say on the radio, "It is high."
It is
far,
caught
is
on the warning
caught
track.
by the right field.
It is
Right,
gone. Giancarlo Stanton. How did we not say his home run call either?
Giancarlo.
But, what am I missing here? He's on first base. Did it not go out? Oh, so great.
So great, I mean,
Guys,
there's so many.
it's,
A
it's
Stantonian episode.
We have to say
was
burn,
the
baby, burn. I think,
Stanton.
right? That's the first one.
Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah.
The Jason Giambino.
Jorge Posada, Georgie juiced it or something. It goes
Yep.
along like that.
Yeah.
Swishalicious, sneaky.
That is
Very
sneaky.
good,
I
very
I
good.
totally forgot about that one.
Are we missing any good ones?
We definitely are.
I mean, there's
so
a ton of
many.
good. Voigt hits one to Detroit.
Oh,
I'm
that's a good
randomly
one.
remembering
Oh my gosh,
that's a
Starlin
good one.
Castro right now, where he's like Starlin, Starlight. Castro hit that with all his might,
That's
like something.
wow.
like
I
that.
forgot. about that one.
2012 Raul Ibanez.
Oh.
Raul,
He was one of my
so
favorite
cool.
Yankees. One of
Oh
my
my
favorite
God.
Yankees.
Oh,
ever.
that was great.
One of the best one-year Yankees of
We could
all
be
time.
He
hours.
really was. He got
Oh.
MVP votes.
With the
4 years old.
Higashioka, the home run stroker.
How,
If
John?
we're talking like
We
recent
actually could be
ones,
here
too,
for
and,
hours.
like current Yankees, I loved Rizzo's where he goes, Rizzo hits the homer and then he like chuckles to himself as though like, huh, nobody beats the Riz.
Oh,
See
that's
the
good.
pop culture references.
loves
It
it.
never takes a day off of John. He's always there. He's always there.
Do you guys remember when Brandon Drury was a Yankee
Yeah, of
and
course.
he goes, Aaron's the judge, but Brandon's the Drury?
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
That is
Wow.
awesome. I do remember Brandon Drury. And then
Short
after
tenure.
it's very short tenure, and then after he, became who he is now, he's very good. He got a nice contract
Yes.
with the Angels, so good for Brandon Drury. But yes,
So
John
many good
always knew how to tie the moment together, whether it was good, whether it was bad, or in a lot of cases when it was neutral. He always knew what the moment was, and he made it the best possible moment to have. And as I said before, he knew how to put us all to bed, no matter if the Yanks won or if the Yanks lost, and the magnitude of each win or loss, it didn't matter. John knew how to get the job done, and he will definitely be missed. There won't be another man like John Sterling. There's only one Johnny boy, and it's John Sterling. We
I'll
got
say
one more
this:
take?
I think it's awesome that Yankee Stadium, after every single win, has started to play his "The Yankees Win."
I think
So
Hoke
good.
put that out, and the Yankees liked it and
It's-
decided to do it.
it
So
i-
shout out Hoke.
It is
Yeah.
perfect for that franchise and that organization. That is a call that should get played at Yankee Stadium for as long as baseball is played.
I agree. I think at the end of every game, before we get into the Frank Sinatra, it's got to be Johnny Boy first. It's got to be Mr. Sterling first. And, man, this was really fun, guys.
Oh
This
my
was
gosh.
really, really
A trip
fun.
down memory
And
lane.
It really was a trip down memory lane. We all kind of got to recap big moments of our childhood as Yankee fans, and they were all crafted by John Sterling.
Thanks
they
for the
really
memories, John.
Thank
Thank you, John.
so much, Mr. John Sterling. You will be missed, but your voice and your quirkiness, your character, and your personality will never be forgotten. I know I won't be able to explain my timeline of baseball without John Sterling, and I know the three of you guys won't either, and we're forever grateful for that. But that is going to do it for our John Sterling special. It's been a lot of fun, guys. Like you said, going down memory lane. But new memories are coming. Emmanuel Berbari, Justin Shackle, in all seriousness, it's their time to shine. John, he steps down, and no better way than to put some Fordham guys in that position, right next to the great Susan Waldman as well. But for Lou Orlando, Brian Rabacs, Nick Palmer, I'm Will Tallant. Thank you for joining us and honoring John Sterling.
Breaking ball, hit in the air to deep right. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Now, Mark Teixeira sends a text message into the right field seats. You're the Mark Teixeira. And Teixeira and Damon go back to back. Then a belly to belly. Bernie goes boom. He drills a home run the short way in the right field seats. Burn, baby, burn. A thriller by Godzilla. Hideki Matsui, the Sayonara Kid, just lost one over the center field fence. The Grandy Man can. Oh, the Grandy Man can. Robbie Cano, don't you know? Raul, so cool. Yes, indeedy. Gio Urshela, the most happy fella. Higashioka, the home run stroker. And getting higgy with it. Anthony Volpe, a spectacular OG. No, the Fox socks one to left. An A-bomb from A-Rod.
Ichiro pitches low. The throw to second base not nearly in time. Oh, they got him. How do you like that?